Hello, welcome to the VonderKnits podcast, episode number 6. My name is Kayla and I am your host on this knitting, crocheting, and making YouTube channel. Thank you so much for coming to hang out with me today. If you're a new viewer, welcome, and if you're a returning viewer, welcome back. Thank you so much for the support. Also, before I forget, if you would like to follow me elsewhere on the internet, I can be found on Instagram as VonderKnits and on Ravelry as Kayla VonderKnit. It is Sunday, June 18th. Happy Father's Day, happy Pride Month, and let's chat about yarn. So, we are in the midst of summer sock camp. So, there will be a lot of sock talk on the upcoming podcast. So, we'll start off with some finished objects, which I have a pair of socks. So, these socks are for my niece. She has a birthday at the end of this month and she has requested purple socks. So Aunt Kayla has delivered. This yarn is the Yarnable 2023 colorway in love language. Yes. So, and if you don't know what the Yarnable subscription box is, it is a subscription box that you can receive every month. There are a couple of different options about what kind of yarn that you can purchase, but I just get the single skein of fingering weight, and then there's also a couple of other little goodies that come with it. But this is the February 2023 colorway, and it is so nice. She requested purple socks, so she got them, and her birthday is at the end of the month, so this is perfect. And I believe I showed these last time in the last podcast. But I knit these on my Knitpick fixed circular needles, US 1 2.25 millimeter, and they're metal needles, and I believe they're 24 inches. But for her socks, I cast on 56 stitches. I knit 20 rounds of ribbing 2x2, and then I forget how long I make her legs. I have notes and recipes for everyone who I knit socks for on my phone, so I just follow her recipe. I just did it's a vanilla sock recipe, and then I did the heel, flap, and gusset, and then through the foot. So yeah, this is a really pretty yarn. The yarn is an 85% superwash merino, 15% nylon wool, so it's incredibly soft and squishy. And I believe it's the Yarnable's plush sock base. So my first finished object, a pair of socks for my niece, and I think that's my only finished object, but I did talk about these more in depth last week. But yeah, I love Yarnable's subscription box. So it is so good, and it's great for gift knits, and that way I always have yarn incoming, and then when a skein speaks to me for someone, I can just knit them a pair of socks or a hat or whatever they request. So that is done for her birthday. Also, I do have some crocheted little objects. And it is in the form of a teeny little basket. So excuse the dog hair. My children have been playing with these and the dogs also enjoy them. So yay, teeny little basket. So my daughter loves to take granny squares and sew them together. She'll sew the edges together to make cubes, and then she'll like sew on a button, and then I'll crochet a little loop so she has like a little cube box. So while she was sewing together her 6 little granny squares, I made her into a cube. I was like, I'm gonna take this yarn that you have in your room that you're not using anymore and make little baskets that you can put your yarn in. So we have a slightly bigger one. So one is for my daughter, one is for my son, and these, I think I used a USK hook, and I didn't really follow a pattern. When I start crocheting, sometimes I just kind of go with what feels right. So I just kind of crochet in my circle, you know, doing like the increases every so often, and then I just knit, crochet through the back loop, and then just went up the side until it felt right. So we've got cute little baskets for her to put her goodies in, and I feel like my kids are 4 and 6, and kids those ages just like they love like little baskets and little boxes and stuff to put stuff in. Like whenever we get something delivered, they always steal the boxes and make stuff out of it. So they like these. The yarn, I think the yarn is, it's acrylic, I know that, but I forget where I got it. I've had it for years. My daughter took it and has been like playing with it and making little poof balls and putting it on her dolls' hair, and so it's just random yarn that she likes to play with. So I made her little baskets. So I stole those away from her to show you because it's been a while since I had a crocheted finished object. So let's go ahead and get into whips. First of all, whoopsie. Whoops. This is not going. All right, back. Come here. All right. This first whip is in my Department of Toasty Toes Pull Your Socks Up Knitpick's little cloth bag that I've had for such a long time that I love. Yeah, I put a lot of socks in there. It's really cute. I also have a mug with that same the same little logo on it. But these socks are the, let me show you here. This colorway is a Felici from Knitpick's in Rustic Cabin, and I am knitting them 2 at a time on 40-inch US size 1 2.25 millimeter needles. And this yarn is a 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon blend, and it's more of a light fingering. It's a little bit lighter, but I love Felici. It's a striping yarn, and it's hard not to buy all of the Felici when it's like on sale because I want it all, and my husband really likes it for socks. But this is the Rustic Cabin, and I love this colorway. I actually knit my husband a pair in the Felici worsted yarn, but I saved the fingering weight yarn for myself. And I think I'm ready for the toes. I need to measure them. I am just knitting them in tubes, and then I'll start the toes. I think I'm almost ready for the toes though. But I will do an afterthought heel once I finish with the toes, which I do a true afterthought where I just mark and then cut in with scissors and then pick up my stitches and knit the heel. I did a planned afterthought. That doesn't sound right. But it's where you like knit in the yarn and then you go back over it and then knit it again and then you just pull out the yarn. I've done that before and I didn't like it as much as just cutting it. I feel like I had like holes and gaps at the end parts. So I don't know. I don't have a problem cutting my yarn. So I enjoy just the true afterthought heel. But yeah, I think I'm ready for the toes. But yeah, I'm excited for this. And when I start my 2 at a time socks, if I'm not knitting them toe up, I will start the cuffs on a 9-inch circular needle, and I will knit like 1 cuff, 1 round, and then put it on the needles, on the long needles, and then I'll go back and do the other cuff on the 9-inch circulars, and then I will pick it up like, and then divide it up onto the needles. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. So 1 cuff, and then I put it on the long needles and slide it to the end, and then I'll start the 2nd cuff on the 9-inch circulars, and then I will just knit them onto the long needles, and then the 2nd flap will like hang in the back on the 9-inch circular, and I will knit across the 2nd sock and then pick it up off of the 9-inch circular needles. I think that makes sense. But yeah, I love these colors. They're so pretty. They remind me of fall. They remind me of coziness. And I really like them. I love this colorway. And I've been saving this yarn in my cabinet, and I'm like, I need some 2 at a time socks. So yeah, those go in there. 1 whip. 2nd whip. This is in my other bag from Knitpick's. It has a little moth on it, and it says wool enemy number 1. Oh, so cute. And then I've got my Patty Cake Bakery pin, which is a local bakery in Columbus, Ohio. And then I have this pin. It's a sushi pin where it's yarn and knitting needles. I think that's from Firefly Notes. I believe my husband bought that from them for an anniversary gift for me. But yeah, so. Okay, this yarn is the Yarnable March 2023 colorway. Yeah. So let me show you here. And this pair of socks will be for my husband, and I am knitting them on a 9-inch circular from Chiaogu it's a US size 2, so it's 2.75 millimeter needle. But I knit those for my husband because that way I can knit his on a 64 stitch count sock, and then I also knit my socks on a 64 stitch count. So the Felici socks I'm knitting for myself, I also knit those on a 64 count, but I use a US size 1, so the stitches are smaller, so it fits my foot better. But for his, I size up to US size 2, 2.75 millimeter, so I can still knit the same amount of stitches and all the counts are the same, but it fits his foot better. It's a little bit bigger. But yeah, so, oh, this colorway is so pretty. This is, again, is the plush sock yarn from Yarnable. Let me look up what the actual colorway is called. It is an 85% superwash merino, 15% nylon, and it is called Rest, Relax, and Recharge. So let me show you the little lemmy. So cute, but it is from the March subscription box, and I have actually been calling these the Zonai socks because I have been playing a lot of Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, and if you know, you know. Like, these look like the swirls of the Zonai people and all of their technologies, and that's what it reminds me of. So lovingly calling these his Zonai socks, and I think he's excited to get them. It's been like a month since he got a pair of socks, so he's excited. And then I do use the light bulb stitch markers every 10 rounds just to mark and keep count, and then that way I can make his second sock the same size. So I just did my 64 stitches, 20 rounds on the ribbing, and then yeah, I usually make his sock about 6 inches tall at the leg, so it's about 60 rounds for that height. But yeah, put those away. Oh, and if I didn't mention, the Felici socks are also 64 stitches each. So I knit the same count for his and mine. And then I believe this is it. Okay, so this project bag, it's owls. So this isn't technically a true project bag, but oh, it's so cute. Isn't that cute? So this bag, my husband actually sewed it for us when we were cloth diapering our children when they were infants. We had all of our clothespins in this bag for hanging the diapers up to dry outside on our drying rack. So that was part of his nesting when I was pregnant with our daughter, our first child. He sewed this bag so I could put all the clothespins in it and keep them all together. But our babies have grown up a little bit, so they are no longer cloth diapered. So I stole the bag, and it is now a knitting project bag. But oh, you can hear I've got my stitch marker tin in there. It's jingling. This is my last work in progress. It is a tall pair of socks for my daughter. Oh, and it's got the fun stitch markers. So this again, lots of Yarnable this podcast. I like decided that summer sock camp started, and I just wanted to cast on all of the socks, so I did. So lots of Yarnable because I am just pulling, like, I have a lot of Yarnable right there, and I just keep grabbing it because my husband grabbed the March colorway, and then my daughter grabbed this one. So it's catching everyone's eye apparently. But this is the May 2023 Yarnable colorway. And it reminds me of cotton candy. Just like cotton candy that you would get like at the fair, at, you know, any like festival or anything. But I think it's unicorn themed. So let me, there you go, so good. Oh, and all my stitch markers. So these are, the skulls are from Katrinkles. I picked those up from my local yarn store, 614 Knit Studio in Columbus. And there's a mushroom there. And then, where did that milkshake come from? I think the milkshake was in like one of those bath bombs. It wasn't on the light bulb, but it fits on there perfectly. So I just used it for a stitch marker. Oh, and then my cinnamon roll. Oh my goodness. That is from, let me see, will it focus? Oh no. That is from Simply Serving. Yes, Simply Serving. And then I have, speaking of Tears of the Kingdom, we know who that is, right? Yeah. And then a little TARDIS that came on a Doctor Who themed skein that I knit last year. But, oh, and then a chess piece that came on, oh gosh, it was a Queen's Gambit theme skein. And then, ooh, Zero. Zero is from, oh come on, Zero is from Simply Serving as well, and he glows in the dark. I love that. But yeah, so these are tall socks for my daughter. Let me look up the colorway really quick. I have it right here. Oh, whoop. JK. There it is. It is Unicorn Dreamscape. So yes, it is unicorn themed. It is still on the plush sock base, but it reminds me of cotton candy. And my daughter is 6 and she had never had cotton candy before until like last month when my sister came to visit and she brought cotton candy, and she was like, the kids have never had cotton candy. And I'm like, no, they don't eat a lot of candy. So she was like, I brought them some. So my daughter's now like, I want cotton candy. And I'm like, no. But anyway, so yeah, so cotton candy, she grabbed it because she's on a cotton candy kick. But she requested tall socks because she has, for the like 4 months, she only wanted shorties, and now she doesn't like shorties because they fall down. She wants tall socks. So these are very, like, here's the heel right here. These are very tall. So 20 rounds for the cuff, and I did cast on 56 stitches because it's wider at the top to fit over her calf. And then I think about halfway down, I decreased by 4 to 52 stitches. So it'll fit her leg a little bit better. Yeah, and then this should go up to her knee, I believe. And then I forget how many rounds I do for the flap, but it's just a normal vanilla heel flap, gusset, and then I think I'm close to the toe for her as well. I started all these socks, and then I would get to like the toe here, and we would be going somewhere, and I would be like, well, I don't want to finish a sock while we're out and about, so I would like grab my husband's sock and then knit on that, and then I'd be like, oh well, I'm almost at the toe, I don't want to finish a sock while we're out and about, and so then I would grab like my pair of socks. And so now I have like 3 pairs of socks that are ready for the toes, and I'm just like, I just need to sit down and do the toes and cast on the second sock. So but yeah, these are so good, and I'm knitting these on my Knitpick Fixed Circular US size 1 2.25 millimeter needles. I believe this is a 24 inch. I believe that these are 24 inches. So the join isn't as smooth as the Chiao Goose. It kind of catches there, but I really like these needles though. I don't know. I don't know if it's the springiness of the cord, but I am like always reaching for these. I always have a pair of socks on these needles. They just feel good in my hand. I don't know why, but yeah. So there is that pair. Whoopsie, get off there. So yes, that is all of the knitting I've been up to. Like I said, it is summer sock camp, and I have my summer sock camp shirt. Yay! Let me get it here so I can show you. I usually don't buy like things that are themed, or like when like not influencers, but like when people are like selling things to go along with a knit along or anything. I usually don't buy it, but I really liked the logo for this year's summer sock camp. So when Kay shared them, and if you don't know, summer sock camp is a summer long knit along where you knit socks, and it is hosted by Kay Litton of the Crazy Sock Lady podcast. So I have done it for the past 2 years, I think, and this is my 3rd year. So when she showed the logo on her Instagram stories, I was like, I really want a shirt. So I picked up a shirt for myself this year. So that made me really happy. I got it in the mail, I think last week, and this is the first time I'm wearing it. Water break. So yeah, that's it for the knitting and crafting. So if you were just here for that, thanks. And if you want to just stick around for some life stuff, we can chat about that really fast. So life things, what we've been watching, we still are just mostly been watching stuff on YouTube. My husband and I have been watching our wrestling, and it takes us a few nights to get through our Monday night show because it's 3 hours. And then on Friday nights, we still have our date nights. I have still been playing Tears of the Kingdom. I've started playing a little bit of Stardew Valley again. So that's why I haven't been like making tons of progress on socks, because I've been playing more video games. I am reading oh gosh, I'm gonna get it wrong. The Crown of Gilded Bones by Jennifer Armentrout. Yeah, and I'm really enjoying that. That's of the From Blood and Ash series. I believe it's the 3rd book. So I'm really enjoying that. That's really good. And I've been sick with strep, which is not so good. It was, what is today's Sunday? I'm trying to remember what day. Last weekend, it was Sunday. Last Sunday, I was exhausted, and I came home and actually took a midday nap, which is bizarre. I can't remember the last time I took a nap in the middle of the day, because we have 2 small kids who are constantly like, go, go, go. So I was so tired, and I fell asleep, and I was like, wow. And then I think it was Sunday night, my like right side of my tonsil started to hurt. And then on Monday I woke up and I just felt terrible, and I'm like, well, last time I had this, like I went to the doctor and it was this whole thing, and I was like, man, this might be like allergies because the weather's been weird here, so I'll be fine. And then I got a fever and chills and aches, and I was exhausted, and so that I got really bad on Monday night. So on Tuesday I went to the doctor and they tested me, and they're like, oh no, it's strep. It's pretty bad strep. Like, your whole throat looks angry. We're gonna get you on medications. So it was about 3 days of like terrible, like it felt like I was swallowing like hot coals. It was miserable. I got on medicine, started feeling better. Then on Friday, my husband woke up and he's like, my throat hurts. And I'm like, oh no. And he was like, yeah, this isn't great. So he works from home. So he worked, and then after he was done working for the day, he was like, I'm worse. Like, I went on to like, I made him tea and took it to him during one of his breaks, and he is like wearing one of the shawls I made for our kids, and he has a hat on, and he's got like a sweater in it for him and some socks, and I'm like, oh no. So he went to like a little minute clinic yesterday and tested positive for strep. So we are just crossing our fingers the kids don't get it, because that would be miserable, because they love running around and playing, and they just don't. When they're sick, it's so sad, and I'm like, don't drink after any of us, don't share the utensils. So I'm finally on the mend. My husband's still, he's on like day 2 of his meds, so hopefully soon he feels better. We've just been doing stuff around our house, so that's another reason why we're like, I'm not getting as much knitting done, because I have summer squash that's growing, and I have 2 cherry tomato plants that are growing, and I have another tomato plant that's growing, and I have like 12 heads of lettuce that are growing, and I have like 6 bunches of kale that are growing, and then my mushrooms, I got a second flush of blue oyster mushrooms. So we've been like doing gardening things, and we've been going on walks with the kiddos and playing outside, and we've just been like doing stuff and like walking around the neighborhood and going to parks and going for little hikes in the woods. So we've just been doing a lot of outside stuff, which is nice. Does cut into like crafting time, but that's okay. I always find that during the summer I mostly knit on socks, and that's about all I really get done, just because like it's hot outside. I don't really want to knit on something heavy, but sometimes I cast on a blanket, so that's not like a hard and fast rule. Anyway, so I make socks, and then yeah, lots of outside activities, which is good. So I will get back to work on these socks. Hopefully next time they will be done, and I will have started some new projects. We've also just been doing stuff outside, so a lot of landscaping. We put up the scalloped like edging around our house and then filled it in with mulch. That went all the way around. We planted like 4 new flower plants out. Oh, I take that back. Like 4 flower plants around our pathway up to our door. But then we also like cleaned out around our mailbox and put edging and put mulch and put little flowers out there. So like, our little house is like looking so cute, and I'm like, yay. So it just makes me happy when like there's flowers outside and there's bees buzzing and the birds are eating out of our bird feeders. And our neighbors probably think I'm crazy because I have like all these plants on our back deck. We live in like a suburb. Like we have houses like pretty close to us, so, but like I've got all these plants growing and hanging off the deck, and then I'm like carrying around buckets of mushrooms, and and the dogs are running around, and the cats are running out of the house, and the kids are running around. But anyway, just summer things, lots of growing, lots of just like being outside, and then on rainy days we read or we play games together. So I need to dedicate more time to knitting. Less video games maybe, more knitting, but all right, well, I think that's about it. I'm just kind of rambling on at this point about stuff, but yeah, this has been the VonderKnits podcast. This was episode number 6. That's so exciting. But all right, until next time, make sure you take care of yourselves and take care of each other. Bye.